So we're going to show you how to do the project stuff on Desmos. So there's a link on Moodle that'll take you to the template. And once you get there, the first thing you're going to want to do is sign in so you can save your work and share it with your teacher. You're going to sign in with your Google account. If it's, you might actually need to type in your Google password depending on whether you're logged into Google at the time. And the first time you do this, you might need to give Desmos permission to access your Google information. So just hit the allow or OK button. And so now the template pops up and there's a table set up to enter your data. So I'm just going to make up a little data. Of course, you're going to have at least 12 data points. Right, I'm just going to do a smaller number here to move us along. And you'll notice a couple things happening. The table's filling in, which we'll talk about more in a second, and you'll definitely talk more about in class. And some stuff happening on the graph over here. What you will notice is the actual data points are supposed to be showing up in green, and I don't see them in green, and that's because my y values are too big and they're not showing up over here. So I can sort of drag things around. So I could drag way up here to try and see them. I can also try and zoom out to try and see them, and this is what people do a lot for starters, and they sort of say, okay, there's my data, but of course not a very good picture to be all clumped up there, and so it's probably best to go in and sort of set it by hand. And so I don't really need to see any negative x's. I just need to get up to about 6 on the x-axis. For the y's, maybe I'll show a little negative, and then up through, yeah, 65 is pretty good, maybe 60, right? I can also at this time add my labels, so maybe this is months, and this is average high temp. And so those labels will be showing up here. And now I can see my green dots, so that's nice. You can, if you like it better, you can click to projector mode. It makes the dots a little bigger, a little easier to read. And then down here we have the equation set up, and so hopefully you have this figured out already. I'm just going to type in some somewhat random things here, and so we're trying to get the curve to fit. You may need to put some more parentheses in, and I've got a little phase shift, and so now I've got my picture. You can collapse this if you want to see a little bit better. And so remember, I'm trying to hit the green dots. I'm doing okay. And that's sort of the big picture. The one thing you want to make sure you're doing is saving. You can click the save button here. You can also rename it, and just put your name with it, and then click save, and it'll be saved in your Desmos thing, so you can pull it up whenever you need to come back to it. At the end of the project, when you've got it all saved, you're going to go to this Share Graph button, and you're going to click the link and highlight it, copy it, and paste that link into your project so your teacher can see your actual Desmos file when and if they need it. That's sort of the big picture on what you're doing. Again, you'll talk more about this in class, but just so it's clear how this table's working. This is the first 2 columns you're entering in. The second 2 columns are calculated. The black column here is calculated based on plugging the x values into your equation. And so you can see that when I change my equation, the predicted values change, right? So I change the amplitude a little bit. And then the red column is basically how far off your prediction was. So my prediction here was 51.82. The actual value was 50. How far was I off? I was 1.82 off. Right? Next one, my actual value was 53. Predicted value 53. I was 0 off. And you can sort of see that over here. Here's the actual value. Here's the predicted value. A little bit of error. Here they're right on top of each other. Here a little bit of error, a little bit of error, and here sort of a bigger error. And so then sort of a key part on the project is the mean absolute error, and you can sort of see that right here. Mean, average, absolute, they're taking the absolute value, error, actual minus predicted. So right now my average error is about 1.49. And so as you're making your adjustments, you're sort of tracking that and seeing, is it getting better or worse in terms of average air. And so when I changed my period value there a little bit, my B value, average air went up a little bit. And so I can be playing around with it, trying to get as good, as low of an average air as possible. That should be about it. Have fun. Thank you.